Hi, this is Michael Waitze, and welcome back to Thailand GameChanger. We are focused on the driving forces behind the startup ecosystem in Thailand and Southeast Asia, produced by True Digital Park in conjunction with Michael Waitze Media. We have the most informative and insightful conversations with startup founders, SMEs, venture capitalists, ecosystem builders, and senior leaders from tech giants and the government, all recorded here at our studio at True Digital Park. So I almost messed that up. I do that sometimes. I'm joined today by Anurag Srivastav, the head of technology at SGM Analytics. Anurag, how are you doing today?
Hello, Michael. Thank you. I'm doing good.
It's good to have you here. For context, can you give the listeners a little bit of your background and experience?
Yep. I'm basically trained as an electrical engineer from one of the premier institutes in India.
Which one?
That's called SVNIT.
SVNIT.
It's in the western part of India.
Got it.
So trained as an electrical engineer, but have 24 years of experience in the industry now.
24?
Yep.
You don't look that old.
Well, I've been working
for a while. Started when you were like 16 or something.
Oh no, started at 19 actually.
19, see?
Yep.
See?
Have been going around in telecom industry actually. Worked for around 10 years with Alcatel-Lucent, which is now Nokia.
Got it.
And off late have been working into applications of big data analytics into telecom.
So do you write code as well?
Oh yes, I did, but not now. Not anymore.
So what exactly does SGM Analytics do?
Oh, SGM Analytics is into application of big data into telecom. So that's the space that we started off with.
Okay.
And then, of course, we are now venturing out into many other digital things. In fact, many other enterprise services that we are going to, venture into. But primarily, for last few years, we have been working with a technology which has given the benefits of big data analytics to telco industry.
So what does that mean? So that means you have telco clients, and they're accumulating a ton of data on a user basis, but also on a system basis as well. And then you go ahead and you analyze all that data to what end?
Okay, we can analyze data to give multiple perspectives.
Tell me.
That's what it is. So we position our analytics solutions as different, into different domains. Primary domain has been the revenue analytics or revenue leakage assurance that helps.
We'll get to revenue leakage in a second.
So that's where it helps telcos. Network analytics, where we can actually give the network perspective to the telcos. Then, of course, comes the subscriber perspective, where we can give
user data, user information, user usage data and stuff like that.
Usage data, usage information, so that telco can actually serve their customers well, better, and give them really good packages. That's what I can tell you.
Right.
So basically, newer offers, better perspectives of using the things.
So I've always, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but I'm sure you do. But I've always been really interested in sort of the placement of cell towers. I mean that. Like, how do you know where to put those towers? And where does data analytics come into the placement so that I can have better coverage in places? Do you do that as well?
Oh, okay. That's one part of the network analytics solutions that we do. Actually, we can capture data from the network, and based on that, we can figure out whether there is a hole, as we call it. Actually, where there's no coverage, we call it as hole. So we can actually figure out the holes and then suggest or give an idea to the telco that where to fill that up. But in fact, that's a very basic thing. Go to analytics, analyze it more, and imagine a telco has got, let's say, 10 million to invest. Now, where do you put up your cell towers?
That's my point, though. Right?
Yeah. So, where do not even cell towers? Where do you want to invest your resources more efficiently so that you can get more money out of it? You can make more money.
Population concentration, usage concentration, stuff like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Population concentration, the revenues, the returns that you're going to get.
Because you could have tons of people in one place, but they don't use any data,
Absolutely.
So it's not even worth putting stuff there, right?
So, a very typical common sense thing is, where there's office area, there will be more utilization. But a residential area, there people go to sleep. They don't utilize. So maybe you don't want to put so many towers. It's just the connectivity that you want to maintain.
Got it.
These are basics.
Right.
But analytics can give you different perspectives. For example, I'm just remembered one thing.
Please.
A market basket analysis in analytics can tell you that if you have to place beer and diaper together, it sells. In fact, that was the analysis where they came up with that if somebody buys diapers, he's most likely to buy beer.
But how does telco-related mobile data analytics tell you where the beer or where the diaper should be placed? Like, where does that data emanate?
No, I was simply trying to tell you that data analytics can discover or find out the correlations, and that's exactly what I wanted to say. Is when we do network analytics, we can give you more and newer insights to how to invest this.
So, how do you determine the difference between correlation and coincidence?
Coincidence is pure luck, but correlation is something where there is some relationship or some way, but certainly, it's more at a philosophical level.
Got it. I want to ask you about 5G. Right? So mobile telephone operators obviously are rolling out 5G across the world, and the impact of 5G you can see directly on the telcos. That's really straightforward. But what are the broader implications of these speed and bandwidth changes as 5G starts to roll out?
See, first of all, it is quite a confusing thing that people think, like from 3G to 4G, there was an increase in speed.
Yep.
4G to 5G, there will be an increase in the speed.
Right.
5G is not just about increase in the speed.
Of course.
In fact, it provides three basic things.
Okay.
One, higher speed, higher bandwidth.
Yep.
Second, the latency or control on the latency and jitter.
Right, so that's the speed of the speed. Because that's what latency, you know what I mean? Latency is a really interesting word though, right?
Latency is very important. In fact, and the third one is security. So since I was enumerating those, let me just...
Go ahead.
And then coming to speed, everybody knows the broadband and the throughput that you require.
Sure.
But when you come to latency, imagine connected cars. This is the example that I love to quote everywhere.
right.
Connected cars, and if you were to press the brake paddle, like 1 second later, you might actually go and hit.
You might die.
So here the latency matters. Okay, that's one part. Similarly, I'll give you another example.
Okay.
We all have been watching YouTube videos, Netflix videos, or Hook, or whatever. Depending.
What's YouTube?
YouTube.
Go ahead.
Well, coming from India, that's fine. But maybe here people are used to Hook.
No, I'm kidding. I don't watch Hook. I watch YouTube all the time.
The point is that when you're watching such a video, if you look at it, earlier there used to be buffering kind of thing.
Right.
These days, with the bandwidth increases, there is no buffering. But there is another advantage that has been made. That is, these players can actually, buffer a little bit of data. So that's watching something which is stored content. Now imagine we are talking and we have to be on a live call.
Real
there
streaming.
You have to have real time. You can't tolerate delay.
No.
So your requirements are different. And then imagine, the IoT world where some pressure sensor is there or some temperature sensor is there, and somebody spoofs it. Your whole process is going to go away. So the security.
This is really interesting. I want to talk about security again in a second, right? So latency, completely understood. A lot of people don't consider sort of the IoT implications of the rollout of 5G, particularly when it comes to security. I want to talk about that layer, right? Because that's really important. The more technologically advanced you get, the more holes you can create potentially, right, for hackers to come in, but also the more secure levels you can create using different types of encryption as well, right? But a lot of the management of buildings, of airplanes, of moving vehicles is going to be managed either remotely or through through IoT, through inter-machine communication. And if you're going to do that, you have to have a security layer there that's really good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so 5G is going to help us do that too. Just from a technological standpoint, do you want to talk a little bit about the difference between the 3G to 4G transition and then the 4G to 5G transition? You can talk about sort of the standalone and non-standalone as well, so people can get a better sense for what that means.
Yep. So Actually, we have to understand this a little bit. 3G was still more in, a telco domain, or if you have to equate this 3G to 4G evolution, it is something like you evolved from a dial-up connectivity to a broadband connectivity. So that was the evolution.
A 56K modem too.
Yeah. So that kind of evolution. So that's one step.
Right.
Similarly, if you had to go from 4G to 5G, you have to equate it from broadband to a proper service which is completely integrated. So there's nothing like a wired connectivity, a wireless connectivity, or anything. And there are different modes. I mean, if you look at it here, also we have Wi-Fi signals.
Yep.
I mean, can we offload our mobiles onto Wi-Fi when we are into Wi-Fi range? We can save resources on the air. So 5G is going to integrate everything together. So that's the way we have to look at it. It's a completely different perspective.
So it's like a completely different technological paradigm.
Yeah, it's going to integrate everything into one.
Right.
That's how we should take it. So while 3G to 4G was mostly about CSFB, VoLTE, or all those or SRVCC, single radio voice call continuity. All these were there. 5G. 4G to 5G evolution, in fact, I'm seeing for the first time that standards have defined this as well. 3GPP defines the steps moving from 4G to 5G. So they have two steps, as you know, NSA and SA mode.
Right.
And in fact, they have different options, moving from one option to another option. So I think 6 options are there pretty much.
Wow.
So it's a predefined thing, whereas in 3G to 4G, it was operator's choice how they want to do.
Operator's choice.
In fact, here also operators have got the choice.
Right.
They can choose the path, but there are predefined paths.
Okay, let's talk about revenue leakage, because you talked about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what you do to sort of help on the revenue leakage side. And then first of all, talk about what it is, so people get a sense for that as well.
Revenue leakage or revenue loss, we can think about it in many ways.
Sure.
The problem sometimes happens due to a misconfiguration in the network.
Oh, okay.
Somebody has configured a package and forgot to configure it properly, or these package configurations are really complicated. They are hierarchical in a manner, and they work in such a way, they interact in such a way that sometimes there may be cracks, and those, traffic might fall through cracks.
So when you talk about packages, you're talking about a package that I would buy as a consumer or as a business.
No, packages as you would buy. Let me give you an example.
Just so people understand.
Yeah. So in some countries, I don't want to go to the operator, and in fact, region, Africa's, for example, they were offering Facebook free to introduce that Facebook thing. So Facebook would be free. Now, on the Facebook app, you can have YouTube videos embedded.
Right.
Now, if somebody wants to click that video and watches it, what you are doing, you are actually watching YouTube on Facebook.
But you're getting it for free. So
you're getting it for free. So ideally, they should have been charged for that YouTube.
But so who does get charged for that? In other words, in that case where Facebook is trying to get higher penetration in Africa is a good example. So they give connectivity away for free, but you can only use Facebook for it, right? So you have to sign up for Facebook to get your connectivity. But then if there are YouTube videos embedded or New York Times articles embedded, and if you can read them there, somebody should have been paying for that. We can argue about who that's supposed to be. Who does pay for it though? Or is it just that's the revenue leakage you're talking about?
That's the revenue leakage.
That's for free.
That's for free.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't talk about this anymore so no one knows.
No. They fixed it.
Okay, but so that's the question. How does this rollout to 5G help fix that?
5G in itself will not help fix it.
Right, but is it some of the security layers or some of the technology layers that are built or the management tools that are built on top of it?
No.
Okay.
The technology per se, in fact, complicates it
even more.
Yeah, because you are going to provide differential services. In fact, if you understand it clearly, right now what you have as in packages for 4G, all you can eat kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a buffet.
And I'm hungry.
Me too. By the way, so it's like you want to watch a movie, you want to talk on WhatsApp, WeChat, or whatever.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
you're being charged. But with 5G, with differentiated services coming into picture, somebody would need latency. Real-time latency is important in some cases.
So you're actually going to segment this stuff out.
Yeah. So once these segments are going to come up, you have to be able to track those segments and ensure that, first of all, the quality of service as promised is maintained.
Right.
Second, is the person is being charged properly.
So does that mean that if you're someone that's managing a fleet of autonomously driving cars, and I'm just a regular consumer, we may have different latency
absolutely.
on our packages?
Absolutely.
And we'll have to pay different prices for this.
Yeah, that's what I see. By the way, I haven't been able to come across the different packages and the different business models that people are going to the operators are going to deploy.
Right.
I'm still searching for how they are going to do this charging, but literally this is what is going to be really important, and they should be charging on the differentiated services.
So does a company like SGM Analytics build the tools like that data analytics layer that you were talking about to try to determine what those packages should actually look like and who should have the better or worse latency and build that into the packages?
No.
That's operator choice?
That's operator's choice.
Okay.
What we can ensure is whatever operator desires.
Then you're monitoring that.
Yeah,
to make sure
monitoring.
you're doing those analytics, right? So you're providing that third-party service to them that they can't create themselves to do all the analytics around. Here are the things we think we're offering.
Yeah.
And here are the things that we actually are offering. And if there's any differential between what they are, you can tell them and then they can fix it.
Yeah. So here's
Really
they think that they are offering, and here's what they think they're charging, but they're actually charging the same or not.
Yeah, one of the things I like to say is there's a lot of stuff you think you know, and then there are the things you know. Right?
Absolutely.
So this is kind of what you're trying to help them do. What does stop? I don't know if it's any different from 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G. There'll be something after 5G, right? But what stops these telcos from just becoming conduits for data and then having other people build sort of the value-added third-party services on top of it as opposed to the telcos doing it? Just based on all the stuff that you see. Because it's a worry for them, right?
Yep. Till now, telcos were offering, connectivity or bandwidth.
Yep.
5G also, since everything will get integrated,
right.
The telco will become the backbone. Imagine the whole data, complete data passing through them.
Right.
So they have. It's something like you're sitting on a station and watching all the trains going by.
Right.
But I don't think they can be, just watching the trains like that anymore.
No, cannot.
They have to utilize this data.
Right.
The problem, though, is how do you tap this data at such a high speed with so much of data? I mean, that's where
it's like data overload at some level, right?
So being able to tap, instead of using tap word, I would say being able to capture, understand, analyze. And give that analytics to others is what will be really important.
Okay.
This data, once telcos can capture, and if they can, be put under proper law, I would say proper. Generic privacy laws and all those things are there.
Right.
But literally, if the subscribers agree, if the governments are able to relax those kinds of things, then this data can become really important, not only for telco, but for the businesses. And in fact, many startups can come up utilizing this data and offer their niche services.
You just took my segue away.
Oh.
Because I do want to know, one of the things that I've been thinking about as you're talking about this, right, is if the bandwidth is high enough and the speed is high enough and all the sort of data analytics tools are there, but that data is moving by really quickly, and it's not just moving quickly, but there's a ton of it as well. Can you build services in real time that can analyze data in real time today in a way that couldn't have been done before? And then who benefits from that? In other words, how does that impact the startup ecosystem?
Yeah. So basically, SGM has got the tools to capture this kind of data. So that's
in real time.
Oh yes.
And analyze it in real time.
Oh yes.
What do you write that in?
Oh, that's the real time DPI.
No, but I mean, what?
Oh, it's C, C++.
C and C++. Okay.
Yeah. So what we have got is a real time DPI, deep packet inspection.
Yep.
But all that apart, I mean, let's come to that question. I mean, when we are able to tap that data without compromising the privacy of the subscriber as such, what this data can be utilized not only by telco to offer better services and offer better packages, better systems to their subscribers, but they can in fact. Let me just digress a bit.
Please.
There are telcos who are now collaborating with content partners.
Right.
Let me give you an example of India. Airtel, for example, which is a Singtel,
subsidiary or venture.
Subsidiary, you can say. They are working with this Amazon Prime. They are working with Netflix. They offer those packages.
Right.
Initially, I think that Netflix started off with them more like a promotion thing. That is, okay, the subscribers of Airtel will get 1 month free, and then slowly it gets charged in their bill. But imagine if they start collaborating really, and if telcos can collaborate and give data, exchange data about the subscribers that they're watching, whatever they're watching, the content and all that. They can use this data to figure out what are the preferences of a subscriber. They can offer better things.
I think about this all the time. In other words, if you have a network, right, where you're offering a bunch of different categories of shows or topics or content or whatever, and you can analyze that in real time.
Absolutely.
You can actually figure out then what content to serve and to whom you should serve it.
Yeah.
Instantaneously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think about this a lot.
So those things can be really done. The other part is, where the subscriber is going. Telco knows location every time.
Right.
Telco knows, okay, I'm going to be, I'm sitting in the office, or maybe I'm driving in the car.
Right.
Takes me 3 hours to reach from my office to home.
Right.
Why not offer something on discount? Some content which I like, which I would like to see.
Yeah, so this is one of the things I've wondered a lot, right? There was all this hullabaloo a few years ago about location-based services. I don't see it. Like, there's only one company I know that offers them, and we've interviewed them here, actually, Itigo, right? It knows where I am. I press a button, it offers me deals around where I am, but I don't see anybody else using this in a way that makes sense. And is that a technological problem? Or is that, it doesn't seem like it should be.
Well, the technology is there.
It is, right?
Yeah, the technology is certainly there. Maybe it's the business model that didn't pick up, but slowly I believe that this is exactly what is going to happen.
Sorry to keep interrupting you, but I'm really curious about this. Does the ability to do real-time data analytics impact latency of the service?
Okay. I'll talk about these two things completely in a different manner.
Okay.
Connected cars, I took an example. Yep. Maybe there a millisecond latency is,
it's important.
It's important.
Very important.
Whereas if you're making a transaction, a money transaction.
If I'm searching for a restaurant, it doesn't matter much, right?
Doesn't matter. So in fact, I would like to take that example of the payments.
Okay.
If your settlement happens in 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it doesn't matter.
Well, the human can't really determine the difference.
But it still matters, as in it cannot take 1 hour to settle the payment.
No.
So
for sure.
What I wanted to give by this example is latency and real-time processing part. So real-time processing is happening both ways, but really, is it really important to get to that level of latency or not? That will be from the application perspective. So similarly, if from the example that we came in terms of location-based offerings,
right?
Okay, maybe I'm moving in True Digital Park,
right,
and Starbucks starts offering something,
right? Because they know you're coming.
So
and they know you're a good customer.
Yeah, they know me. They know my behavioral patterns. They know I'm coming. They can give me an offer.
Right.
Absolutely not a problem.
No.
But here latency may not be required. Real-time stuff is needed. That is, they have 10 minutes or 15 minutes to act while I'm approaching, let's say from BTS.
Right. Because they know where you are, right?
Yeah. So that can be done. So that's where the difference in real-time processing is, or rather near real-time to real-time processing.
Got it. Do you want to talk about some other verticals, like what's the impact on utilities and power generation or power consumption, and also retail maybe as well? Like, what are the implications there? Okay,
let's get on to power or
first.
Energy, for example.
Okay.
We are talking, there's a pressure on everybody in terms of going green.
Right.
So earlier, the whole industry was there will be power generation units. or power stations who will be supplying the whole cities.
Right.
The scenario is slowly changing.
Yeah, should be.
Everybody is trying to put up a solar panel on
rooftop
their
solar,
on
and
their
then connect
rooftops.
those rooftop solar into analysis around who's using what and when, and then actually sharing it across their own internal grid, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Now you can feed back the power to the grid as well.
And charge for it as well.
Yeah, and charge for it.
And then put a blockchain component on top of it, and then you have an Australian company actually. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's the point. I mean, that's one thing. Second thing is, slowly imagine there is going to be charging based on time of day.
Sure.
Peak hours,
off-peak
higher
hours.
Rate, off-peak hours. In fact, I love that example from Singapore. Cars are being charged on differential rates during the different times of day.
You mean the ERP system?
Yeah, the ERP system. Same thing can happen even with electricity as well.
Should do.
Yeah. So with this kind of differential charging, with this feeding back of electricity back to the grid, how you're going to charge? The more this is getting much complex system, a complete set of complexity. Now here you would require the real analytics,
right?
And to manage, in fact, dynamic pricing mechanisms.
Sure.
And capturing this data properly and being able to monitor that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
It's not going to be that simple. As in,
no, it's super complicated. And like, let's just say in a two building universe, right? Just to separate everything out and make it simple. I have a townhouse and you have a factory, and they happen to be next to each other. But I go on vacation, so my house is still generating electricity, and maybe it's raining at your factory or something. You can take power from me, and I can charge you for that. But when I come home, maybe I want to alternate like how much power I'm actually putting back out onto the grid. But the analytics around that are really complicated.
Yeah. So that's the complexity that's going to come up.
Right.
And what we think as an SGM,
as an entity,
is to be able to solve this kind of complexity and to be able to address how we can get the data from different places, different points in the network.
Right.
And if we can manage this kind of complex analytics. By the way, the best part is we are coming from telco background.
Right.
So, and we discussed about, a lot of data
tons of
flowing
data,
in
moving really fast
at that speed. That is what gives us a unique advantage of being able to process data in real time. Now imagine if we apply this technology to a slower system, it's easy. In fact, not really scale down, but I can call it more like a scale down rather than scale up.
So I talk about this all the time. I come out of a real-time trading background. Mm-hmm. We have to make decisions based on like real-time data flowing in, and we have to make those decisions in seconds. And the market opens at 9, closes at 11:30, whatever, opens again at 1 and closes at 3. And after it's done, it's done. You can't change anything you've already done. Yep. It's coming at you really fast. But in sort of like a private equity style investment business, the data is just moving so much slower. It doesn't mean it's not hard. It just means that your ability to analyze that data, like you said, it's scaled down.
Yeah.
So if I can make that analogy, real-time trading is just like the telco data. Boom, it's just coming at you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, this is the example that you gave. I was trying to look for this analogy before coming to this, and this is the analogy that I had.
I got it.
You got it. Absolutely got it.
Can you talk a little bit about the impact on artificial reality and virtual reality as well?
See, with the advent of 5G,
right,
AR and VR is going to be the thing. I mean, it's coming, and the best thing that 5G is doing is bringing up more and more throughput and more bandwidth.
Right.
Which is what people think. So that's going to be in place. With this, naturally, the kind of augmented reality or virtual reality that's going to be in place is certainly going to be there. Let's take an example. I mean, we all have our spending on credit cards, and we can see, credit card or debit card, how we are spending it.
Right.
But imagine if you could put a VR specs, and you can see, I'm spending here more or spending here less, and more virtual. So that would look good, but convert it to a little bit more complex thing, as in network.
Right.
And if you could see what is happening in the
network.
Data
usage and stuff like that, right?
There, maybe it would be visible as a dot that this is where the root cause is, this is where the problem is.
Sure.
So visualizing a lot of data,
right.
reading a table versus reading a pie chart, you know the difference.
No, data visualization, that's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
That's why I asked about this. Because people think about AR, augmented reality, and virtual reality as just something that you do for fun or for other things. But if you can actually do augmented reality when it comes to data analytics, just that data visualization can end up being really powerful.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I was thinking about, if you go back to talking about location-based services, right? Imagine if you, on your phone or somehow, you can do augmented reality and you get a deal from Starbucks or from some restaurant that you're walking by, but you don't know what it looks like inside. And you can somehow press a button or build some technology that allows you to feel like you're in the restaurant in a place you've never been before. See what the views are like. Is it an ocean view? Is it a rooftop view? That kind of thing. You can do that in AR and VR. Now you're talking about really powerful services.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be really great.
Right? Maybe I'll stop this and I'll go build that right now.
I'm already feeling on a rooftop.
You're already feeling it? So the last thing I'll ask you before I let you go is, what do you think changes the game in Thailand as it relates to sort of data analytics and mobile telcos and stuff like that?
See, 5G
right.
is going to bring in a lot of data
right.
and a lot of opportunities for data analytics.
Got it.
The more we are able to collect and tap that data,
right.
we are going to get the opportunities for analytics. More collected data, more analytics opportunities means more startups.
Yeah, more startups.
More specific startups, specific scenarios, and it's going to do wonders not only in Thailand but for the whole world as well.
I actually have more questions. How many people are on your team?
Oh, right now we are working with around 10 people.
That's a lot. But do you interface? Here's the other question though. Do you interface with startups? In other words, let's say I'm a startup.
Yeah.
And I want to do some data analytics, but I don't have a data science team. But I want to figure out how to analyze all the data that I am getting, but I don't have the expertise to do it. Can you do that as well?
Yeah, we can help.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah.
Because to deal with the big telco, massive budgets and all other stuff, right? They're going to be doing this, and you've been doing it in the telco space forever. But there are startups popping up in every country in Southeast Asia, not just in Singapore and Thailand, but Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam as well. And a lot of these teams don't have data analytics or data science expertise, but need it.
Yeah. So actually, we were thinking of deploying something like this. The analytics platform that SGM has got.
Right.
We wanted to put it more like a consumer available thing. That is, click. You can get the a slice the way you want it, and then if you want more data scientist services, we can offer that as an add-on.
Got it.
And that's what we are thinking. It's pretty much in the plans.
Okay.
I can't discuss more
No, that's
about
okay.
it.
I'm just curious because a lot of the stuff that we do in this room focuses on what the startup world is like, right? Not just in Thailand, but in the whole region. And it's always interesting to me to see like what services that they want to be using but aren't using and don't even know exist are there. Right? Because maybe they're not thinking about it in that way. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah. So in fact, we have that advantage coming from India. We've got a lot of data scientists available. We can offer those services to startups as they need. In fact, the platform, this high-speed platform, can be offered as a service pretty much.
Right. I was going to say as a service. Yeah.
And data scientists as well, and they can bring up their own use cases.
How long has SGM been around? When was it founded?
Oh, it's a 2002 company actually.
Okay, so it's been around for a while.
Yeah, founded in Singapore, but we have moved into big data analytics pretty, late actually.
Well, I mean, it's never too late.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate Shelby helping you out and bringing you in here as well. I want to thank Anurag Srivastav. I got it.
Yeah, you got it.
Head of Technology at SGM Analytics for coming in and talking. That was awesome.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't leave yet. Remember, we talked about it.